Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, in the first lesson, we will learn how to make our first model in MSC ADAMS. So, after installing MSC ADAMS, you will double click ADAMS view and you will be left with this window. In this window, you have a blue background working window and then this front small window, which is a template. It has three options in it. The first option is a new model. So if you click it, it will make a new model for you. The second option is an existing model. If you click it, it will open some existing model which you made earlier. And if you want to work further on it. And then we have the third option, it will close the ADAMS. So we go for the new model and then we have a new template which is asking for the attributes of the new model. The model name is by default model underscore 1. So we can rename it with our own choice. Remember that MSC ADAMS does not take numeric names, the name starting with numbers, and it also does not take names with spaces. So if I try to call it 123 and I click it somewhere out the box, it will give you an error. So it means that it is not acceptable to it. It's a syntax error. And if I say first space model, it will again give no, it's an error. So if I call it first underscore model, so it will accept it. Okay, then second option is the gravity. So the force of gravity, the acceleration due to gravity by default is Earth normal minus global y. So when you are sitting somewhere, you are sitting on the Earth, surface of the Earth, and by default, if you see on the left side, left bottom side of the window, there is a coordinate system given. And this coordinate system is telling you that y-axis is upward. So this is positive value of y. And Earth's center must be downward, so it is y negative. That's why minus global y is the direction of the acceleration due to gravity. So x-axis positive is towards right, x-axis negative is towards left, and z-axis is out of the plane, out of the screen towards us, and negative z-axis is into the screen. So this is the global coordinate system. The global coordinate system is the system which is same for everybody, for all the things which we will make in this software. The third option, in the gravity, we have other two options. There is no gravity or there is other. If you click no gravity, whatever we will make, it will not have the effect of gravity. And if we try to click other, it means that we are working in a place where the normal Earth value of acceleration is not applicable. It is a different value. Like if you are trying to land a spacecraft on Mars, you will use the gravity acceleration due to gravity of Mars. Okay, so but for the time being, we keep it Earth global minus y. Then the third option is the units. We have different types of units here. By default, it was millimeter, kilogram, Newton, seconds, degree. We have other options as well, whatever suits for your model, because you already know that what type of model and what is the space dimensions of your model. You can choose this one. The fourth one is IPS, inch per second. These three are similar. This is a little bit different. We will keep to this millimeter, kilogram, Newton, second, degree. Then we have the working directory. By default, the working directory is C users home. So this is normally not a good practice. You try to keep it in a folder where you can save your work. So the Windows directory or your operating system directory, if you reinstall your Windows, your valuable work can be destroyed. So I have made a workspace for ADAMS and I select it. So whatever I will build, it will be saved here. Then I click OK. So I'm ready to work with MSC ADAMS. Now I double click to make it full screen. Now what is in front of me? This is small dots. These small dots together is known as grid. These are two axes, white two lines, And this is the origin of my workspace. This red the line is showing the gravity, which is downwards, and this is telling me that it is force of gravity, this red line. On the left I have different folders with plus sign. It's a family tree for the things which I will build in my model. So they will be whatever I will build it here, it will have some name given to it, and it will go into one of these folders. Then I have these 5 sets of blocks. The left one is by default selected. This is bodies. So these bodies have these 5 set of blocks. So I have different options of bodies to be built. So these are basically the things which will combine to make my mechanism or my multi-body dynamic system. The first is a set of solid bodies. These are basically rigid bodies. Rigid body means that with the forces, their dimensions will not change. The second is a set of flexible bodies. So if I choose them and I make a mechanism or a system with them, when I will apply forces, these bodies will move as well as they will be deformed. The third is some geometrical tools used for construction only. The fourth one is Boolean option. So if you are trying to construct something from intersection or union or something like that, you can use these options. The last one is if you build something and you try to dig a hole, or you bore it or shell it, or you extrude something or chamfer something, there are some additional features available to be made to your bodies. So to just start with, we will build a solid body. Let's build a sphere. So I click sphere, and I have been given 2 options. The one option is it's saying new part. I have 3 options here. Add to part is that if I already have a part and I want to add sphere to this one, I will use this one. On ground means that if I want to make this sphere a part of the ground, ground means the things which will never move. So there is always one ground in your system and it never moves. So I say new part. The second option is the radius. So if I click it, it will make a sphere of this radius. If I don't click it here, so the dimension of the sphere will depend on how I click in this working area. But let's control the sphere in here. So I enable it and I change the radius. Let's say I say it's 6 centimeter. So after selecting 6 centimeter, if I come to the workspace, it already has built a 6 centimeter sphere. And this sphere will be placed where I will again click. So I click on the origin and this has made a sphere. So this is not sphere, it's a web of spider. Yes, it is a sphere, but because of the planar modeling, it is showing like it's a web of spider. And also, so let's see if it is a sphere. I tell you a shortcut key, click R, and it will open a rotational button for you. So if I click R, I push R, R has made the rotational. Then I drag the mouse. Whenever I say drag, it means that I have left clicked and move my mouse, so it is a drag. And whenever I say click or left click, it means the same. When I have to right click, I will explicitly tell you it is right click. So this is a sphere. I'm dragging it here and there. So this is a sphere. This sphere has some holes in it. We wanted a solid body. What is this? So if you go to the right bottom, there is a globe here. Globe is telling you that we can toggle between wireframe and shaded. So this current view is known as wireframe. So you can see through it looks like the model you have made is made of wire. If I click it, it will solidify it. So now you see this is a solid sphere. But this is a very small sphere. It is not so much visible to me. I can make it more visible by pushing Z key. So if I push Z on my keyboard, this will enable the zoom button. Now if I left click and drag upward or downward, it will zoom in or out. Okay, so zooming out and in is enabled by pushing Z key. I again push R key and rotate it. So this is how it's working, and you see there's an arrow made for gravity where gravity is directed towards Y. But we have disturbed everything, and our gravity is going towards almost right or in a very odd direction. Let's make the things they were in the beginning. So I can go to this one. This is the front view. So if I click it, it will again make it the front view. So this is the view which we were watching in the beginning. So this is a sphere. Now we can delete this. So where will it be? How to delete it? So deleting a part has two ways. One, you just go towards its center and right click it. And if it has a name, it has a name part 2. You will go to the its name and then you will go to delete. So if you delete it, it will be deleted. Another option is you go to this family tree and here you click bodies. In the bodies you will have your solid bodies. You can click right click part 2 and you can delete it. So this is deleted. If I want to add another body like its cylinder, I can add this cylinder here, and this cylinder is telling you that it has a length and it has a radius. I didn't use the options which were given to me. I just click on using the window, so it had made me a cylinder. If I press R and I rotate it, I can see it's a cylinder. I can toggle between its different views using this views options. So this one is for front and rear. Whenever there is a small arrow on the side of the icon, it means that it has more options. So you just right click and it gives you all the options available. So this is the rear view. Similarly, this is giving you the left and right view. So if I click the left view, similarly this is giving you the top and bottom view. So this is the bottom view. And if you want it again to the isometric view, you can click it. So this is the isometric view of the cylinder. If I want to go back to where I was, either I can use this front view, or another option is I can use Shift F. So Shift F key will again give you the front view. So if I try this one and I press Shift F, so this is the front view of the model. I delete this one and I can now build another thing, which is a rigid box. Box has 3 dimensions in it, so I can build 3 dimensions either using the clicks or use enabling these 3 options. If I enable all 3, I have this ready-made box and I will click somewhere in the working model to make it. And if I rotate it, this is a box made. Similarly, I delete it and this time I make let's say link. So this link is a body which has two holes on different sides. First I go to the front view and then I control its length, width and depth, and I see what does it give me. So this is something which is made. So what is it? I can't see it. So let's press Z and go. Here it is something like that, and I can rotate to see what is this. And you can see there are some small xy's attached to the body. These are some specific markers by default attached by ADAMS. These help you in connecting different bodies. When you will make different bodies and you want to connect them, these markers will be helpful. So these are basically some local coordinate system attached to the bodies, and this is your global coordinate system. If I click, if I delete this one as well, I go to my front view again, I can build this time frustum. And frustum has 3 options. So let's say I take the bottom radius and the top radius and I move my mouse, hover my mouse, it is controlling its length because I didn't give it the length. So where I feel suitable, I can place it. So this is the frustum. Then I go towards, we can try this another option here. Let's delete it first. You must have noticed one thing. Whenever we try to add something, let's do this cylinder again, for example. So whenever you add something, it gives it a name part 2. Why not part 1? It doesn't give you part 1 because by default part 1 number is given to the ground. So whenever you build something, there have to be a ground. So if you want to build something, ground is essential. Without ground, ground you cannot make anything, and whatever you will build over and above, it will be given the additional number. So part 1 will always be ground. Okay, I delete it again. Let's build this thing. What is this? If you place your icon, your mouse some time at at an icon, it will give you the name. So it's a rigid body known as plate. So if I click plate, it is asking me the thickness and radius. Is it enough to build it a plate? In this option, you have to always have to take help from the clicks. So the number of click tells you what are the edges of this plate. So the thickness and radius, we let it the be this thickness is the thickness of the plate, radius is the radius on the round edges of the plate. You see it's a plate in the figure here, icon here, there are 3 dots here and 3 corners. So if I build it 3, yes, and I have to close this figure to make it 3. So I have to end where I started by clicking it. So this is 3 cornered figure, and that when I'm finished, I have to right click. So if I right click, this is a plate made, and I can rotate it by pressing R, and I can see how it is working. Similarly, this is not essential that I have to make 3 corners. I can make more than that. Up till 2 corners, this is the length, this is the body, and if I have to make more than 3, I can click it. For more positions, I go to the front view again, I click one point, I click another 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 point. So I have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corners. Now I right click, and right clicking gave me a plate with 5 corners. If I rotate it, this is how it works. And at every corner, there is a local coordinate system attached to it. So if I have to build some other things and I combine them together, these local coordinate system will be handy. The next thing I can build is I can extrude. Extrusion means that you make a cross-sectional geometry and then you drag it. So let's say if I extrude a circle, it will make a cylinder. If I extrude a rectangle, it will make a rectangular shaft. If I extrude some pentagon, it will make a pentagonal rod. So you take one dimension very long and the cross section is always constant. So if I extrude, it asks me how I want to make the points of the profile which will be extruded, or I already have some curve, or I have to build a curve which will make the profile. And then the forward and about center, backward, along path is after making the cross section in which direction you have to extend it, and this is how much you have to extend it. Okay, so let's take a closed profile. You can also have an open profile, but I use closed profile. I take the front view and I can make some shape like this. It has to be closed. I close it and then I left click it, and this is extruded. Okay, so this length was the 5 given by a default value given. Okay, if this length is higher, it will keep on increasing in this direction. Okay, so this is extrusion. So normally extrusion is used for very long parts. Here we gave just 5. Okay, so I go to the front view again. Another thing which I can make is revolution. So this time if I build a geometry and I revolve along some axis, it will revolve this rigid body. Like if I make a rectangle and I revolve about it an axis, it becomes a hollow cylinder. Okay, let's do that. For example, it's a closed shape. It has to be a closed shape if I used closed, and I can also use curves. Okay, and analytical means it follows some analytical equation to make it, because these are very simple shapes and they can be easily made analytically. Okay, so for the profile I make, okay, the first when I clicked, it used the axis. This line will be used an axis. So whenever you click some icon on the bottom, you will see the message. So the message initially was that this is the axis you are going to build. So whatever cross section we'll make, it will be revolved about this axis. Now the bottom option is saying revolution, pick profile points points with left mouse button on the bottom, it is saying, and right mouse button to create. So I can use a rectangular cross section like this. This is closed now, so I will not click another time left click, I will right click this time, so I right click, and this has built me a cylinder. It doesn't look like a hollow cylinder. Let's check. Press R and drag it, and yes, it is a hollow cylinder. So you can use revolution for making revolved parts. Okay, so what is left? We are left with this ring torus. So for the torus, you have the minor radius and major radius, so it's a sort of ring. If I click this one and this one, and it will make a torus. Now I have to place it somewhere. If I click it here, this has made a torus. Okay, so I can see this torus as well. And the last option which we haven't done so far is this one. This is a plane, so if I build it, it is not a physical body, it is just a reference plane which I will be building somewhere. So if I go to the front plane and then I try to make this, so it is just one click and two click. So I've made this one, but there is a function, there is a message given that it is not a solid for body and it doesn't have a mass. So it means that this is causing some problem to the software. So if we are going to use it, it will not be having any mass. So I delete it, and this is how this plane will be used. I can, in order to avoid confusion when I build it, I can say it is attached to ground, and then I can build it. So this way it will not give an error. So if I build something with its reference, it will be moving, and this will always be used on as a plane only. Okay, so this is that's all for the first lesson. Okay, I'm deleting this plane as well because I tried to delete the ground. I told you that ground will have to remain here. Okay, so I'm deleting this plane after going inside the ground. So ground is still there. This whole screen is ground, and whatever I will build over it will be added to this. It will be moving on it. It is something like you place something on a working board, and if there is no board, everything will fall down. Similarly, this workspace is a board where you are building everything. Okay, so this is the first lesson where I have told you how to build different solids, and I have also told you how to start with your first model. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much. Always try to give me the feedback. Did you like the video, and how can I improve? Thank you very much.